What's good, Tube Nation? How you doing today? It's your boy Grape Sauce, and we back with another video. Back here with the Impala, and today I'm going to be changing the EGR valve. Now this part right here I really don't have to do, but when my car broke down 2 years ago, I was just driving on the highway, and the whole thing just shut off. And I didn't know what happened to it. It made like some crazy ass noise when it did it. So when I was explaining it to the mechanics, no one could figure it out. Like, I told it to the shop, they was telling me to take it to the Chevy dealer. I wasn't taking that shit to the Chevy dealer because I felt like what they were telling me to take it to the Chevy dealer for was like my key has a chip inside of it. A chip inside of it, for y'all that don't know. I think most of y'all's chips now are in this part, but they were telling me that this was the problem of my car, and I needed to go and get this reprogrammed for anyone to do it. I had 3 different mechanics tell me that. Okay, I told it to 2 shops, and then I hired somebody to come here. They always telling me it was the pass key fault. I really knew that wasn't the case because I had problems with the pass key fault before, and I was almost certain that that's not what it was, because I know what that does when it does not work. It doesn't, like, I know what it does. And what I was describing to them wasn't nothing like I was trying to, what they were saying it was, and it just wasn't matching up, okay? So my mechanic that I grew up with, pretty much I known all my life, the same mechanic that recommended me the Royal Purple, I kind of get tired of messing with street mechanics because they have lives and they get busy, and sometimes at the wrong time they will leave you hanging, and there's been too many times with that. So that's why I kind of strayed away from street mechanics, and I more or less start to stick with just shops. But I was in a bind. This thing was not moving. So he came through, hit him up. He finally came through. It was great to see him. Got to touch down again, and 30 minutes, I promise you. He went up through the car. He was like, look here, look there. He was like, do this, do that. Had me try to start. He's like, oh, he seen a spark. He's like, whoa, I seen a spark. He's like, what was that spark? And I used to see sparks sometime too, and I never thought about it. So we did it again. Boom, it's your ignition coil. Figured it out that quick, in 30 minutes. Car was down for 2 years for that little ass part. I was like, are you sure? I was all looking at it like, you sure? I didn't want to crack a smile. Like, I had like a little smile up under my mouth. You started getting happy and shit. Like, nah, I don't think you just trying to just sit there like, start asking questions. Well, why do you say it's the ignition coil? Oh, because this part right here should be connected, Really? Well, how much is that? Let me see. Call him up. $30. Okay. Let me go hop in the other car, go snatch that up. He's like, yeah. He pretty much was like, yeah, go snatch it up, I'll throw it in for you. Get my keys. Hopped in the car, shopped to the parts store, got that, came back. Tell you within 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Took the old one off, popped the new one on, and it was like a little hard. He had to drill something, but for him, it was nothing. 10 minutes, he popped that shit back on. My car started right up. Pow! After 2 years of sitting. I was so surprised because, for one, it sat for 2 years without being started at all. So for it just to start up like that, I know it should have started up like that because of how many parts that I put under the hood, but it started right up, and that was last year, and I've been upgrading it since, and we're continuing now. But back to the story. Yeah, he started right up, bam, but it sat for 2 years. So I shoot straight to the emissions. It failed, but it barely failed. It didn't even fail by that much. I was even surprised on that. It even failed. So I thought It just needed some of that little, okay, well, let me just get some of that little clean or some, some catalytic converter cleaner or something. Maybe just get it blowed out, run it through the highway, blow that motherfucker out. Thought that would be it, right? Let me tell you something. Shit sat for 2 years, right? I put some of that catalytic clean up in there. I don't know what that shit did. I think it cleaned that shit out too goddamn good, because my numbers, when I went to go, after I put that shit in there, and I went to go do another emission test within a couple days, just running through the highway, my numbers was way off. I went from barely failing to failing a great deal. It was crazy. I was like, holy shit. So when I was doing some research, they was like, what you do, put the catalytic clean up in there? What you do, clean out the catalytic converter? I was like, yeah, I put some catalytic clean up in there. He was like, oh yeah, man. He was like, yeah, your shit cleaned it up, but what had happened was that it cleaned it all up, boom, and it got stuck right there. So it really, yeah, it cleaned it up, but since there was so much dirt built up, it pretty much made it all worse. I didn't know that at first. So I went through maybe it needs some more of a blowout. I went through like 2 to 3 more emissions. I went through more. Boom, went again, still failed. Numbers was getting worse. So I was like, oh, okay. That's when I asked the question about it. It was like, yeah, you put that catalytic clean up in there and it switches it all up and gets it stuck. So that's when I was like, okay, now you might need to want to do another one, because now to break it up and get it through the catalytic converter. Oh, okay, makes sense. I get it. Did another one. Boom, 2 more emissions to fail. I'm talking about numbers are just going up. Dudes looking at me like, man, it was probably like around the 7th emissions or 8th one. And he was like, he was like, man, I think you need new cats. And when he said that shit, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go put new cats on this motherfucker. And that's what I did. And when I did that, that thing passed the mission. It didn't even last on the little thing. It passed the mission so quickly. I was like, what happened? It fell? They was like, oh no, you good. You free to go. It passed. Cool. So that part's just been sitting there because I thought I needed it, because in those times, so many codes was coming up, So I didn't know. I grabbed everything. I grabbed everything. I grabbed the mass airflow sensor. I grabbed like so many of them codes that was popping up. I replaced all that stuff, So this was the last thing I did not replace. And from the symptoms that when these are messing up, I don't have in my car. So I'm just gonna be just changing the parts that's just sitting there. And now that I'm preparing to, I want to become a light professional gambler, not nothing serious, but just a light one, more on the fun side, not the more serious professional side, more the fun professional side. Like, if I can make $1, cool. If I can't, I'm just gonna enjoy myself. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. We're just putting this in because it was just sitting around, but it does just keep me to want to remind people, if you do have an old school, and if you can just change these little parts out that you have access to, change them out. Like, there's no reason not to have it. So let's swap it out. That's the gasket. And I do not know how to change parts out. I'm not a mechanic. I'm more of like a just put it back on the same way you took it off kind of person. Okay. Make some sort of noise, pushing something up in there. And this right here, I don't know, I always in the vacuum seal. Okay. All right, so that's it. Looks like we're going to be taking out these 2 screws that's back there. Pop the old one off, pop the new one on, screw it back in, and that's it. That's all I plan to do. Let's hope that it's the same thing. All right, join me down here. Mine is located back there. I kind of took it off to make sure I had access to it. want to make sure I have the video. A lot of my stuff is dirty, but a lot of this stuff is still new. Like I said, my mass airflow sensor is new. Ooh. I changed like this thing, some back in here, a whole bunch of sensors I had to change. So that thing will be changing is over here. Let me borrow the camera for a second so I can just show it. So I can just show it. You see it back there? Hope you can. I wouldn't mind that to be my eyes, because I really can't see back there. Oh, okay. That's the screw. And that's the part. Huh. Let's see if we can just take this off. Did that just come off? Doesn't seem like it just comes off. Oh, yeah, it just comes off. And the screws are somewhere. Kind of started taking them off. Yeah, I'm loosening this one over here already. Let's just take that one off by hand. I'll have it in this angle. There's one screw. Let's get that away. Get back there somehow. There's one screw. I'll put you right here just so I can get to look. All right, but y'all seen it. Y'all seen it. And this is the old one. I don't know what would signify it to be a really bad one, but it looks pretty old, huh? Look at that shit. I think it's old. Shit. All right. Let me see. Go ahead and put that in the old box, just in case I need one. You know, I keep parts. Because it's like, well, what if I go to the junkyard? It's the same kind of part. You know, if I'm like, oh, I need an EGR valve, I'm gonna go to the junkyard and get one. There you go, boom. Okay, gasket. Let's see if we can feel for the gasket back here. Feel no gasket. Let's see. There was no gasket on it, but we're gonna put the gasket in there. All right. Okay. I really hope that's how it goes. Let's put the gasket over it like that. All right. time it is. Again, I didn't expect any difference. It wasn't fucked up in the first place, but just to know you got a new part back there, hey, I think that is worth it. All right, troops, all right, fam. Thank y'all for the video. Kind of a quick one, but hey, right on for joining. Check you in the next video. Peace.